Nevadans will have a busy ballot come November, especially when it comes to energy policy.
Voters will not only be deciding whether the state should get half of its energy from green sources by the year 2030, but also deciding whether they'll buy that power from a single provider or a host of different companies. Politics Now co-host Steve Sebelius in studio. He's been asking the questions, what happens if both measures pass? Steve?
Well, you know, Nevada has had what they call a renewable portfolio standard back since 1997. That's another way of saying the state has to buy a certain percentage of its power from renewable sources like solar, wind, or geothermal, with the goal of reducing carbon emissions that contribute to climate change. Now, currently that standard is 25% renewable by 2025, but that could change starting in November. Under the Renewable Energy Promotion Initiative, the state constitution would be amended to require the state to buy half of its energy from renewable sources by 2030. That means whether a company is generating electricity itself or buying it from wholesale providers, 50% would have to be green. If it passes this year, it would have to pass again in 2020 to become law. But there's another initiative known as Energy Choice that would amend the Constitution to prohibit a single monopoly, such as NV Energy, and allow consumers to buy their power from a variety of providers approved by the state. Energy Choice passed with 72% of the vote in 2016, and it'll become law if voters pass it again in November. So how would these measures work together? I asked that question of Katie Robbins, the campaign manager for the 50% by 2030 measure. So let me ask you this. Would it be easier, in your opinion, to achieve this 50% RPS by 2030 with a single monopoly provider or without, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. The way our language is written, no matter what the energy market looks like in November, this is the thing that we need to do to ensure that we have more clean energy. No matter what happens with question 3, we're the accountability measure to make sure whether it's NV Energy or an open market, everybody is responsible and held to the same standard.
So even if NV Energy is removed as the state's energy provider, any company selling power to Nevada residents would have to meet the increased renewable portfolio standard of 50% by 2030 if they want to sell electricity into the state. Anybody who failed to meet that standard could be denied permission to sell power here, in fact. The energy choice question has seen some fierce fighting this year with dueling TV ads. You've probably seen them, debating the plan, pros and cons, but the Renewable Energy Initiative hasn't been controversial at all, at least not this far. So we'll see if that continues through November.
That's
Long
right.
time till then.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.